It
So
always
then I,
takes a few minutes for people to file in and what have you.
yeah, we're just waiting to see who's going to come in, and then I'll
They're
bring
gonna
it
do
up.
a double take. You look like Mr. Monopoly actually hit the Monopoly, quit his job,
I
moved to
landed on,
Florida.
I landed on the right piece. That's what I did, and I owned all this.
What is that? Is that glitter? Is that a glitter
Dude,
tie?
it's freaking sequins and shit, man. It's all like
Oh,
individual sequins. You see that? Look.
okay.
Right, cool, right? And then my wife walks in with this, and she's like, "Here," and I'm like, "All right, I'll put it on."
Yeah, of
So
course.
yeah, this is going to be my Christmas outfit. Why can't I see anybody chat wise? What's going on with my?
I don't think. Well, I see one person's here, but I also don't think anyone's said anything yet.
Oh, okay, all right, no biggie. Let me bring that
Yeah.
over. We'll just see what happens. Let people come in if they want to come in, and then we'll go from there, man. Give it 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
what's been going on with you, brother? What's been happening?
Just fighting Mother Nature for joy and happiness is all, the usual.
Dude, it looked rough, man. Is it like, are you getting belted today?
No, it's a beautiful day, and it looks like for the next few over Christmas as well, we're gonna have like 50 degrees. So I'm gonna sort of center myself so I don't look so cattywampus.
You look all right,
But yeah,
mate. You can sit
but,
where you want. There you
uh,
go.
but yeah, dude, like we got killed with that storm, but everybody got a storm last 2 days.
Yeah.
And today it's pretty nice. It's probably not 40 degrees, but it's in the high 30s, and the water wasn't too cold out there today either, so that was nice as well. And
Oh, really? Yeah, it was a little warmer.
yeah, and like man, I tell you what, when the water is warmer than the air, that is the key. When if you had top of the line wetsuit, you spend $600-700 on a wetsuit and all the stuff. A lot of this stuff isn't really gonna affect you as much as quickly as me, but
Yeah.
my stuff leaks, man, and the second you get flushed a couple times, that's like when a bunch of water gets into the wetsuit and goes completely like in and out. So you get
Right.
flushed, it knocks out all that warm water. That happens a couple times, and you're just not gonna warm back up, And
Oh, really? Does it keep?
yeah,
Does that keep happening on the normal then, or is it what makes it?
no, no, and like again, my wetsuits are subpar, so they'll
Okay.
flush a little easier, and
Yeah.
um, but yeah, just the more expensive the wetsuit, I mean, and they are worth. You get what you pay for. Not all wetsuits are created equal, and the
So tell me
technology.
about tell me about wetsuits, man. Because you know me, I don't know shit, right? So because I know you talk about mills and all that. Is that like the thickness of the
Yeah,
thickness of the?
millimeter.
Oh, okay. So that's the
Millimeter.
thickness of the suit, right? All
Yep.
over, or just in certain areas?
So yeah, my wetsuits are a 6.54, so 6 millimeters on your vitals, basically your chest. That's it, and
Okay.
it'll go down to like your waist, and it'll
All
come
right.
up. That 6 mil on mine is probably it probably gets halfway across your sides. Then 5 mil is basically it's 70% of the wetsuit, 5 millimeters. So that's going to be around your neck, around your waist, your upper legs, your
Yeah.
area, if you will, and
Yeah.
then 4 mil along your arms and stuff. But I'll be honest, dude, I'm not a big guy, and I paddle a lot now. I've gotten decent enough at surfing where I'm pretty much always moving when I have to,
Yeah.
and um, the the 6.54s are good as far as price goes and everything, but you get a 5 mil suit, there's no need to be out there in anything less than 5 millimeter everything, and
Yeah.
so I get cold a little bit, just not Monday. And to be honest with you, Monday was so cold that the water was keeping us warm enough where moving
Wow.
around, there was so much current, there was so much wind, and the water was so much warmer than the air that between paddling and then the temperature, we weren't cold at all. It was just snowing, it felt like the snow was coming from the water up to your face. It was like
No
reverse
shit.
snow. It was crazy, and just the amount of wind. You surf for 3 hours and 25-mile-an-hour wind, and you have to
Yeah,
paddle into the wind to get back up the beach or whatever. Or at the very least, you catch a wave in, and then you walk up the beach into the wind with your surfboard that's now a sail. And
right.
so yesterday, I went out for a little bit with this dude, and the water was so much colder than the air. It just hurt. Today was another one of those days where the water was so much colder, but the sun was out, and in those wetsuits, they're all
Yeah,
black, and they just soak up the sun. So on a day like this, the water gives you a brain freeze when it hits your face because that's the only skin that's out.
yeah.
Um, but the sun warms you right back up. So
Yeah, it's kind of, that storm that blew up through. I'm sure that must be the one that blew up through us because it was really unusual, dude. It's like late in the year for us here to have like anything kind of tornado or anything like that, right?
yeah.
And my wife gets on me, said, "Oh, there's a storm coming up." And I'm like, "What?" And I'm thinking rainstorm, because we get those. But she's like, "No, we got like 50-mile-an-hour gusts," and I'm like, it's weird, dude. And they said there was something to do with the way it was channeling or something, like the way why it happened. I don't know, but it was just unusual, dude, for Florida to get a storm like that with the winds that we got and the rain because we got a few inches of rain.
Really? Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
crazy. I do a lot of just watching the weather around the Great Lakes. So I could only imagine it's the complete opposite, but I would assume that it's the same. The warmer water fuels those storms. Just like
yeah,
when the cold air hits the lake, it's the same exact thing. The temperatures are vastly different there and here, but it's the
yeah.
same thing. It's wild. And my dad's like always been into the Weather Channel, so it's really cool for him to, we talk every day or whatever, but um he'll watch my videos and then he's always watching the Weather Channel. He's has family up in the UP and stuff, so he's always watching the Weather Channel. He'll be like, "Oh, is this what you're talking about here and there?" And it's just so amazing what if you just pay a little bit of attention to
Right.
the earth, like what the
Yeah,
world does, that not human involved at all. It's pretty shocking what these every little spot is just a little bit different. I think that there was an El Nino going on this year, and
yeah. I
we
heard that.
um, I think it's close to 40 inches less snow right now than last year. I believe at this point last year, I think that huge blizzard that snowed me in here had already
Right,
passed.
right, right.
Still, 40 inches is a lot. I think we've only had 5 to 8 inches of snow, and
Was it
we've had
last
some.
year you read that? Was it? Sorry, mate. I freaking
No,
bled
no,
over you. Was,
no.
was it last year you talked about that? There was like overnight. There was like an ice shelf that was
Yeah,
that like
yeah, in the lake. Right, that was
yeah,
that big blizzard. Yeah, and it's just between the cold. Um, Yeah, you need it to be cold and a ton of snow in a short period of time just to have that happen. But yeah, I think I do remember that the lake froze us out in like
yeah.
48 hours or something like that.
And you
So like
couldn't even see the water. You were like, I can't even get because it
yeah,
was so freaking far. It was so far out. The
yeah,
ice. You could see it.
yeah,
It was like a big chunk of yeah, crazy,
it is.
crazy.
It's wild. It's
It,
wild.
it, you know what, man? It took me moving to Florida to start paying attention to the weather out of fear.
Yeah,
No word of a lie. Just
seriously.
hurricanes, I just never. The only time I experienced a hurricane, I didn't even know what it was really. Was I was living in England, and I used to have to get up for work early in the morning, and so this one morning I wake up and it's all dark, like completely dark. And it wasn't unusual. I mean, I used to get up in the dark anyway, right? In the winter, coming into the winter time and that. But I look out the window and there's no street lights, there's nothing. And I look right up the end, and I live around concrete. It was all concrete around me. It was all blocks and flats and freaking apartments and all kinds of shit, right? So I look all the way up the top of the street, and there's a block on the left hand side, and there's these huge oak trees like on the right across the street from it, and they were leaning on the block when I looked out the window, and I thought, what the heck? How did that happen? I slept through it. I didn't know anything about it, you know.
This is
And
in
I get up
England?
to go to work. It was a hurricane in 82. I'm probably going to get corrected for that, but I think it was like
This is in
82 or
England?
83. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. And the weather guy, I remember the weather guy, the weather guy the night before, he didn't report it, but it was right there. And he wasn't reporting because we knew, freaking, I didn't even know what a hurricane was. I didn't pay attention to the news then,
Man,
And
that's insane. I've never even heard of a hurricane hitting Britain.
yeah, we've been getting some because Uncle Billy's in. Hey, Uncle Billy. Um,
Uncle
we've been
Billy.
we've been getting some pretty heavy winds in there. I know a few years ago there was like a massive flooding. I mean, it was like ridiculous the amount of land that was underwater when you went out countryside way. Dude, there was people freaking on like islands because their house was sitting on a piece of raised up slightly, but they had a freaking moat around them.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
the weather. Yeah, so I started learning a little bit about it. Started studying like the Gulf because we got both sides. We got the Gulf west, and then we got the Atlantic right of us. East of us. And I just started watching. So when it started coming around that time of year, Atlantic always starts to get it because, like you said, it's warm. It's way warmer than the Atlantic. So it normally starts swirling around there, and then it can come across us, or it normally goes straight, or it can go Mexico way. But once it starts, you start seeing them peeling off of that freaking South Coast of Africa,
Mhm.
right? Rolling. It's like, oh, here we
Mhm.
go.
That's a whole nother thing, man. You could look at satellite images of the west coast of Africa and the amount of sand that gets blown towards like east, or I'm sorry,
Wow.
west.
Yeah.
It's it's shocking. Like you can
Wow.
watch it. Yeah, you just look at satellite images at certain times of the year, and that sand, I forgot exactly what it does because there's some sand that obviously is just so heavy that it falls back down to the earth, but there's parts of
Yeah.
it that get sucked up, and I don't know if they cause issues for like Iceland travel or something weird like that. But I mean, yeah, you get by the ocean. I think this is crazy what the lake does in just
Yeah.
my little spot. Because honestly, I just mainly focus around West Michigan, and I guess it is crazy at what it does in such a small area. But if you start getting meteorological around the ocean and just what it does on a daily basis, forget storms, man.
Right.
It's
Right.
wild, you know?
Oh, you amaze me with the way you talk about it, and when you're talking to, because you talk differently when you're talking to surface, of course, because they understand and they get what you're talking about, right? But I listen to the way you talk and the way you guys talk about the weather and different patterns up the coast as well. Like it's not quite the same here, but it's different up there, and it interests me that shit because you're using Mother Nature. You can't do anything about it.
Right.
You got to read it. So
It's
yeah,
really
it
it's
always
really
amazes me.
unusual.
What's that?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, I liken it to like, I mean, you have to think about what people are thinking and feeling, and you have to take into consideration if they're even being honest with you. So
Hmm.
like, think about that, and then all I'm doing is like, and it's weird because if I try to explain it, I make it sound so much harder than it is. But like, if you just go to a spot and you kind of look at the way the pier is facing in relation to the beach and the wind, and if you go to the wrong spot enough and you really like catching waves, you'll figure that shit out. But dude, I
Yeah.
look at like what you do and how you get down, and I think it's the same reason why I am not a police officer, that I could never do what you do or even come close, just because you have to be so, you can't be objective. You have to be like 100%. There can't be really any opinion or anything really in what you do. Like you just really are sort of like clay.
Yeah.
You're like it's just a very unusual thing. That's like what I guess where this live kind of birthed from today is
Right.
after I was listening to your podcast, dude. It was just like, man, I don't think we don't think the same even a little bit, but I know for a fact we're trying to do the same shit.
Right.
It's
Right.
crazy to me
Right.
because, like, you're that idea that you had that you're like, oh shit, am I like, does everybody see me as a fraud or am I a fraud or like whatever,
Yeah.
however you want to see it. Um, that shit never comes into play for me. Like
Right.
I don't know what it is, and I can't even explain it. And I guess in my ignorant way of thinking, it's almost just like unsubstantiated bravado. like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna go out and try to bowl and like be the best bowler. But the second I started filming and surfing after never doing it before, I immediately was like, oh, I'm gonna fucking do this shit.
Yeah.
You know?
It's funny because it's what I wanted to say. And in fact, getting back, because I want to talk about that, the filming part of it. Um, but getting back to what you said about, being clay, it's one of the things that I shifted, right? Because I've noticed with a lot of the therapy that I've been in the past, that's what they were, clay, right? There was no
The people or
you
the therapist?
the therapist, yeah,
Yeah.
like they were just freaking clay, and you relate, but you don't. There's still a real kind of a disconnect there a little bit because there's no emotion going on. There's they're not showing you something, and I
Yeah, that's a
noticed it's
good way to
true.
put it.
I mean, they just freaking. I had one dude. They just sat there and didn't say anything. And I'm talking, and then I'd pause and wait, and there was nothing. There was nothing coming back. So I shifted that. I shifted that. I have shown emotion when you can't help it. Dude. You hear some stories, and you're like,
Well, maybe the guys that are the people that don't, that's weird to me. That's
right,
weird to me
right,
because like uh I've been really going down the rabbit hole of uh Randall Carlson and who's that other guy? The Ancient Aliens guy. Anyways, Graham Hancock. They make such good points that like race and gender, none of that shit really fucking matters. Even like down to your gene, it really doesn't matter because like we're
right.
all human. So like
Yep,
if uh if you're talking about some heavy ass shit that's like really overwhelming and you got someone just like sitting there, like I
right.
don't know. I don't have this experience. So like I'm only talking about something that I think I would feel. So
Right.
take that
Right.
for what whatever, but
Some of the guys that I've worked with as well, they've turned around. I had one say, "Thank you for showing your vulnerability," because it allowed me to show mine. It was it's that bloody connect. And when I have a history, like I said in the podcast, of living that way, with this mental health since the age of about 5 years old. So, when you can relate, when someone comes and you can relate to that, it hurts somewhere. It's like shit. I can completely relate to that, and there's an emotion to it. So I can't help but relate to that person. Dude, I've had tears rolling down my face, right? I mean, and it brings. It's like you go in and you give that person a hug. There's not that disconnect from that person. They're telling you something that really is hurting them. And when you can relate and go into it and show your emotion a little bit, which you're not meant to do, but I do, right? It's like getting hold of them and doing that and
yeah.
just letting them
That's what I
know
was
that
gonna ask. Is it like frowned upon to do that?
none of my guys do. I mean, but
No, I mean like
in the
in the
profession, yeah,
therapy general, like in the general therapy like world, therapist, human
yeah,
being.
you're meant to
They,
be a plank, basically, and I can't work like that, dude. I do this
Um,
for a reason, and if I'm sitting there trying to connect with someone that's emotionally telling me something, I can't just fucking sit there and go, mm-hmm, it's fucking bullshit. I've had that done to me over and over again, right? Oh, sorry about that. It's like, no, you're not. You fuck.
mm,
Right?
that's not
It's
a good
like,
thing. That's not a good thing to say. Sorry.
right? But they
Hey,
do. Oh, I'm sorry that happened. And sometimes you say that, because I do. I'm really, because I am sorry that happened. But you don't connect, man. There's an issue. Anyway, I wanted to get to the filming part and the surfing part of this. Um, what was it that made you just pick up a board, dude? I mean, can you remember can put it this way? Can you remember the first time that you went out with the board?
oh yeah, and I have it on camera.
Oh, the very first time? Was
First
that one
time,
of your original videos then?
first surfing video you see.
Oh no shit. I'm gonna go back and look at all your older stuff now
I
then.
believe so. I believe it's the first one. And yeah, and you just watch from the beginning and that's yeah, but I was like a beach guy for my whole life. My dad's from Michigan, my mom's from Michigan. Nobody ever said shit about surfing. I would go to the beach when it was nice, and the first time I saw anybody doing it, the next time I went to the beach, I had like a boogie board that I went and bought, and then the next time I had a surfboard. So like it was just
No
immediate.
shit.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I can't remember the exact timing, but it all happened like maybe the winter before the coronavirus started. That's when I like started. And then the I shouldn't even say that on the live. Fuck. That happened. And between the time and the money that I had, I just went. It's been 4 years. And I'm like, when I see some of these guys who are good surfers out here, like who are out Monday, and those people were just almost everybody that was out was just more skilled, and it was like, man, I got so much to learn. But at the same time, some of these guys have been surfing for 10 years, or
Yeah.
longer. So
Yeah.
I feel like, and again, I'll go back to where I kind of jumped into this from the other stuff. Like, there's never been that imposter thing with me, which is another reason why I get so frustrated when people run their stupid mouths about anything that I do at this point, but mostly in the beginning, because I knew what I was doing. I knew I was learning properly, just like because I grew up playing hockey for anybody that watches this later and doesn't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
coached, I did all that. So, like, I know the progression, whether you're an adult or a kid, I coached everybody. I taught adults who didn't know how to skate or stop or whatever. So I see that progress. So I know how hard it is to do shit like that. So, like, I knew what I was doing and I knew the direction I was going. So, like, never once was I like, I knew people thought that I was full of shit and I was, that was whatever, but never once was I worried about it myself, and
What do you mean by people think you're full of shit? Well, like people that are surfing around you, or did you have
yeah,
people that
like
you were
because
saying, "Hey, I'm going to surf"?
yeah, in the beginning, I think in everybody, I told a lot of my family I was going to start YouTube, and a lot of them still don't watch, which is not a big deal. And
Oh,
then the surf community itself, in the beginning, I shared a lot of my videos on YouTube, so like, or on Facebook. So, um, and publicly, like on these Great Lakes surf apps or pages. So like I was a new surfer, so my skills were low, and I'd never edited videos either. So like, and again, I haven't
right.
taken one video down. Everything's still up. Comments have always been allowed. I think I've
Yeah.
only blocked like two or three guys in the history of the channel. So like it's all there. The whole catalog's there. And um, I just got a lot of shit because I was really confident when I had very low skills, and I'll be
Yeah.
honest about that. And like, I'm still very green at editing. And as far as surfing goes, again, like with the amount that I've been doing it, the progress is there, but I got a lot to go. But again, still, I know, there's never been that like imposter thing that you were talking about. But my
Yeah.
main point was we're still doing the same shit. It's just the way that you had to get over that. I have to kind of reel myself in and not be so loud about everything I do, and not necessarily um shamelessly promote myself at every juncture, because sometimes you just shouldn't, so like I feel like if you take what you talked about in your podcast, by the way, everybody should go, and it's on Spotify. What's it called?
It's across all the platforms now. I've got it on Apple as well, but it's called Getting Real with Cockney Buddha. Getting
Yeah.
as in Gettin, not ing.
Yeah, take the G off. But so what you were talking about in there, how you were like you needed to tell yourself that you were worth a fuck. I have to tell myself like not everybody cares about what I'm doing. And even if like this is a really big epiphany that I had, and it's helped me a lot just with surfing and dealing with the shit. I don't get a lot of shit from people now anyways, but there was a time where I was. But there's a group of people that are in the surf community here that will never watch my videos, but they also, if they did or whatever, would never say anything bad. And that group of people deserves to not see people getting in arguments on Facebook. Like they deserve
Yeah.
to just go on their Facebook group and see pictures. So that's why I removed myself. And that's kind of what like my struggle is in relation to what you were talking about, or whatever, like maybe even your own thing with the impossible. Like I just have to remind myself that like as long as I'm doing what I feel is good and not messing with anybody else, sometimes less is more, I think. As far as like,
Right. For sure.
well, my whole being, like the everything that I do, just like you are trying to be the holistic, you know, spiritual, somebody who can help anybody who needs it. I'm trying to do the YouTube game and surf and be the epitome of like just like somebody who just does what the fuck they want to do,
You
as
know.
long as
You
you're not
know.
hurting anybody else. And, it's just like, it's just cool to see that you can make those points. And even though it's literally the polar opposite of how I do everything, I'm like, damn, like that's an incredible way to think about things. Like, it's just
But you know
crazy.
what though? But you know what, dude? The cool thing is, oh, Grom's in. The cool thing is, you know, I may be like that, but I look at you, right? Because I've had this before, where I've been in situations of something that I may be having some anxieties over, like the phone. I'll use that. That just popped into my mind, right? The phone. I used to have this complete fear of the phone, right? Don't know why. Probably my dad didn't like phones, right? Probably connected there somehow, right? But if I was hanging around with you, who's confident on a phone, right, and you're, talking to people, and I'll pick up on that, right? And I've done this before, where I will start moving in. My anxieties ain't so bad because I'm seeing other people do that confidently. So, and then I will go, okay, I'm going to give that a go. Looks all right, yeah. And I'll find myself moving into
Yeah,
that energy of that,
yeah. It's
So
definitely, I
just
was gonna
doing.
say, it's like contagious.
It is. It is, and it's the very reason why when I look at, like I say to you again, it's like what keeps you going in this, right? It's the very reason why you probably don't have some of the issues, because you're following that passion and the love that you have for what you're doing, right? It doesn't matter. It's the same way as I'm thinking right now. I've got all these bits and pieces going, but I'm so passionate about it. I just fucking absolutely love what I do. Love it, right? Now that I can, I'm starting to understand the journey that I'm on and starting to know how the mind works and shit like that, and what I can do and what strengths I have. Shit, dude, it boosts, it like lifts. It's like, fuck, go, right? So I, as I keep on learning, it's like getting a hit of something. It's just energy to me, you know.
Yeah.
And it's the same. It's the same with what you're doing. It's following that passion. I'll tell you what. Who said that? if you haven't seen the Buster Rhymes video that Grom put up a
Oh
little
yeah,
while
yeah,
ago,
yeah.
that's a banging video, dude. Great interview. And Buster says in that, he says, if he was to give any advice to his kids or anybody, it would be do what you love to do, follow it with an absolute passion, and just fucking keep going. Right.
Yeah.
And it's, I think a lot of people, what they do, probably in surfing too, is they'll get into it, right? They'll get creamed because they don't know what they're doing, or they, like you said, they may be jumping off and hitting the wrong freaking areas and shit, right? But they really want to surf. But if they get those few days of knockbacks, they're like, fuck it, I ain't doing that, right? So they give up on the passion. But the passion is what drives you through that bit. Learn. What do I do here? Okay, I'm not getting anything there in that wave. So what am I doing here? Right?
That's
In
what it
fact,
is, though, dude. It's crazy. And I think out here it's a little bit polarized because, especially this time of the year, you don't have somebody casually going out when it's 35 degrees, 28-mile-an-hour wind, the wind chill after it's like below zero. Like the casuals aren't going out. So like, and that's another thing, dude. Like forever, and honestly, kind of almost still now. I've just been like, what's gonna be the fucking thing? Like, what's the thing? Because me, I'm not just a pickleball on Thursday and fucking go to Chili's every other Friday for a steak. Like, that's just it's like any more chaos and I'm back to being an alcoholic drug addict. That's how
right,
on, and I need to surf. Like, again, I'm not the best fucking surfer out here, but like I need to scare the shit out of myself every day. And like I just don't have time to tell myself like I'm not good enough,
right,
which is like
right.
it's almost it's a double-edged sword. Well, it's not a double-edged sword. It's the two things. One, I don't have time to tell myself that I whatever. And two, I really don't believe it. Like, and sometimes I get down on myself and whatever everybody does, but like I tell myself just to shut the fuck up and just I gotta keep going. Like, cause the minute I go back, I'm 200 pounds and drinking warm, $9 a liter vodka again.
Is that what pulled you out of all that then? The surfing? I know we spoke
No,
about it before a little
I
while
was
ago.
sober for like 9 years before I say sober, I smoked weed, but that's it. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I hadn't drank for 9 years, 10 years, maybe 9 years before I
Good for
started
you.
surfing. But this just makes so much sense. The not drinking, the whole time I was doing drugs and whatever, I was never like, oh, I don't, whatever. I knew exactly what I was doing. And my family has enough crazy addiction shit that it's not a secret why in our family things like that happen. And it's
Yeah,
pretty easy to
yeah.
get us out. Most of the people in my family, and I believe this firmly, a lot of them are, on antidepressants and stuff like that. And I fully believe that it's just if all of us just found the thing,
Right.
we're just those people who get addicted to the substance and then everything else comes after it. Now, I don't know where my family exactly stands now, but I've said that for a long time. But
Yeah.
that's not for everybody. But yeah, it's just yeah, it's so it like again, that's why I liked what you said today or when I don't know when you put up that imposter syndrome uh
Last
podcast.
night.
But that's what made me message you about it. It's like shit, dude. It's just such an unusual way to look at it, but it could be helpful. Well, no, it's not could be. It definitely is helpful if I think about things in that way because even though I'm not fighting that fight, it'll help me. It'll help me be like, all right, sometimes I got to reel it in a little bit. And that's with like everything. Like I won't get overwhelmed, but I'll find myself some days like especially in the summer when I'm working and shit, I'll just be like really there's just like never enough, you know.
Yeah.
Work for like 4 fucking hours and then go to the beach and surf for 4 more. And then between the end of my surfing and when I end up coming back to the golf course, there's maybe 2 hours in there where I shower and get some food. And then finally, when I'm back, I'm like, fuck, I could have worked for 6 hours, surfed for 2 more hours or another hour, and just like my head just gets so like I got to keep doing this and this and that and this and this and that that thinking about things the way that or like when people have to deal with stuff like that, the imposter syndrome, the I'm not good enough stuff, the so I mean just the depressing, those sort of mind tricks. It could almost just be like, man, you have 10 minutes just to stop and think. And then
Right.
those breathing exercises, I don't do those ever. And right now, even I don't think that I could seriously do them. But like, that's another thing that like, why can't I set aside 10 fucking minutes to do that?
Right.
But
Right.
like, it's like, no, I gotta, if I'm not editing, I'm going surfing. If I can't surf, I'm going to fucking work out. And I'm gonna spend every Newton of energy. Cause then when I'm done, I just go, that's where it is. And I go to sleep and then I wake up, fucking 6 a.m. British time. Fucking let's go,
Right.
man. Let's
Right.
fucking
Right.
go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you get up at crazy freaking o'clock in the morning. It's like shit.
yeah, I don't know. And it's been like that for my whole life. I was the one kid that was like, pissing off all of my friends' parents, knocking on the door at fucking 7:30 on Saturday, like let's go, let's fucking go. What are you? The sun's up, you idiots. We don't have to
But
go to
like early in
school.
the
The
morning,
fuck outside, you dumbasses. You don't know how to make an Eggo waffle? Put those shits together. Let's put them in your pocket. Let's go, Frankie.
holy
That was my
shit,
best
man.
friend as a kid, dude. And dude, and then the neighbors that were in our because we lived in when you think of an American neighborhood, that's where we were at. 8 o'clock, we're out because me and my friend Frankie, we both played hockey, so we were ripping slap shots. Hadish,
Oh
hadish.
my
Fucking
god.
people's parents, you could see him like opening the blinds, like fuck me, like these two bastards, those little shitheads.
Do that round here. My missus would be like fucking loophole.
Man, yeah, you think when I said I'd be a pain in the homeowners association's ass, they better hope that I don't hit the lottery because I'm coming to your neighborhood, bro.
Hey, Mark, I'm telling you, we want you down here, man. We might, it's you got an open invite. You can come down.
I'm talking about I need I need that Cockney Buddha money so I can move down there.
Hey, come down. I'll pay you. You can be my assistant.
Would you like a cuppa, sir? Do I have to? I got to really work on my English accent if I'm going to work for you.
It'll be friggin' awesome, man. You can be my assistant. Hang on a minute. I can't see you today, but hang on, my assistant will see you.
Oh, jeez. You know, I tell you what, every year that goes by, I need less 90s and less 30s, you know?
What do you mean? Oh, what weather-wise, you mean?
Yeah, the temperature, like, man, that 70 degrees just, because my life is good now. Some days after surfing, my hands hurt so damn bad for like 25 minutes. It's like, what am I
Yeah.
doing with my life?
Yeah. But you know what though? You sit there and you say, "What am I doing with my life?" You're doing exactly what you want to be doing with your life, right?
Yeah.
You're doing, anything can always be better, right? We can always want better. We can always want bigger. We can always want. There's always the want of more. It's humankind, right? We always want more. But if you're doing what you love doing and you're doing it with a passion and it gives you the zen and it makes you feel good, shit, keep doing it. You're not hurting anybody, right? It can only get better, right?
And I'm sure you can if you can just imagine, there was an epic sunrise today. The water was cold as shit. And I'm just bobbing up and down out there waiting for a wave. Like, I don't know
Right.
what else. Like, it's just, there are days when I sit out there and I'm like, there are people fucking going into work right now. There are people, it's just like, I'm really, again, I think that's another reason. Like, I have to tell myself how lucky I am a lot because on so many different fronts, like, I don't have a lot of, stuff, but like, my bosses are just awesome. And my dad watches my YouTube channel, and
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, me and my mom are cool, for the most part, and like, and I get to surf pretty much
So
every fucking day.
what made you start filming it then? Because you said you did it from day one.
Yeah.
So was it something that you planned? I mean, was you like, I'm gonna
No.
surf and film it?
No, yeah, I think after I saw some people surfing, obviously like YouTube popped up Ben Gravy's video surfing in the UP, and then there was this guy who lived in Indiana. He doesn't make videos anymore, and I think, to be honest with you, I think that guy might have surfed with Ben Gravy himself. So you might honestly credit it mostly to like Ben Gravy's like YouTube channel, because when I started watching, it wasn't, he would go to his home spot, and he was vlogging every day, 4 days a week. But yeah, and then so I was thinking, I didn't see a lot of like Great Lakes stuff,
Mm.
and obviously like I have a pretty large personality, and again, the Corona thing had kind of just started, so like um yeah, it was just kind of a weird confluence of everything, but yeah, once I saw you could put a camera on the board, and yeah, yeah, it's
Was it
just
is that like, because I know there's some things I'm like, I've got to have those two together, right? It's like cheese and crackers, right? It's like you got to have it, right? You have a cracker, better with cheese on it, right? So is that like the surfboard and the camera for you? Like if you didn't have the camera, would it?
I find it hard to give a shit if I'm surfing if I'm not filming something.
Ah, wow, okay. What is
Like,
that then?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because because I was wondering that, because I know because when you said you did it right from day one, right? Normally you like grab a board, right? Get out there, do it, and you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm seeing people with some freaking cameras on it. Oh, I can do that. Shit, I'll buy a camera. But you
Yeah.
did that you did that from the beginning. So did you have in your head like maybe, hey, I'm gonna use this to maybe get a YouTube channel going, or was there something else to it? The filming part.
Um, no, like in the hockey world when I was playing, to have a GoPro was like frowned upon. And I guess sort of it's kind of like that out here. It definitely was with like the older crowd. But for me personally, like it was kind of, it all was just sort of one thing. I was like, man, like if I start surfing right now at 33, uh I should film it. And then the corona happened, and like everybody was looking for some sort of, expendable income. And then because like I said, I started in that winter before the corona happened. So there might have been a time or two that I actually um that I went out maybe, and it wasn't an actual surf session, but to be honest, I think the first video I ever put out was at Uncle Billy Bay. It wasn't what it is now, obviously, but I think that's the first place I went. But that was
Uh,
the first like real time that I was like, maybe it was the fourth time that I was surfed, maybe, or third. Um, but I it was like I it was the first time everything had kind of come together. It was good waves, and that's where it started. But I lost two GoPros in the middle, so like there was a ton of stuff that, like, yeah. And then my ex, for some fucking reason, that fucking toaster never wanted to film and shit. So like it was just really hard. So like this was I don't know if you remember this, when the whole Rona thing was going down in Michigan and a couple other states, they stopped all of the payments because of so much fraud. And of course, I lost two GoPros in the middle there. So like while I was trying to get all my free money hit up again, I was using these shitty like action cams and my phone.
Yeah.
So there's a huge chunk, maybe 6 months, where uh the videos are just poop. They're just caca. But I look back at those sometimes and I'm like, man, they're pretty good considering what I had to deal with. And it's just part of the thing. It's like it's
Journey, man.
ebb and flow. And again, I'm of the I'm of the mind that I'm right. I'm actually probably a little bit ahead of where I deserve to be as far as subscribers and all the shit. But like everything, that just happened, and I look back at every little step, and I'm like, I should be fucking doing this, and I can't really explain why I started surfing and filming all at once. Some of it had to do with seeing like Ben Gravy in the UP because I have a huge tie to the UP, and when he was surfing up there, that was pretty cool. And he obviously had a camera and everything.
Sorry, what's
And
UP? I'm lost a bit.
the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Oh,
So if you
okay.
look at a map, there's that upper bit. Um, so people live up there, believe it or not, and they're really good waves. So yeah, you got to give a little credit to Ben Gravy, of course, because you know he was the one filming, but also there wasn't a lot of people really doing it, and come to find out that there's a few more than I thought for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I just
It's
thought it
like
would
what
be.
is it like what Grom said? Oh, and Adam's in the everyday surfer. Good man. Thanks for coming in, guy. Um, Grom said he said the one thing about vlogging is he holds me accountable.
Yeah.
Does he do that with you? Like hold you accountable for getting out there? It's like getting up in the morning and putting your fucking shoes on and going out for a run, making sure your shoes are in the way. You know what I mean? Is that something you do? Like your camera's there, so it kind of does that get you to
Um,
look at that and go, I'm going to go and surf or not?
I do. Yeah. 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 Because I feel like the amount of work that I've put in now, and I do like, I don't want to make it seem like if I couldn't film, I would still go surf, believe me.
Yeah.
But having both, a lot of times, if I got to catch as many waves as the camera can hold, I'm gonna leave after that. But it's not why I surf. However, um, it does hold me accountable, and I feel like just like Grom he gets a lot of views compared to his subscribers because he's got a good community going. And I feel like I'm starting to get that, definitely in the YouTube world, but like human beings near me. I've
Yeah.
started to meet a couple cool people, and so like that's a big deal because it's hard when when you're me, like I'm sure I come across a little bit different than I am. Um, or maybe my personality is a little bit hard to see on camera or something. So it's not the easiest to make friends, at least in the surf world, small surf community up here. So I'm out there. Let's just say that. But yeah, it's just that's another thing that's starting to slowly happen that I'm like, well, fuck, if that's happening now, then I'm obviously doing the right thing. I've told you this too. The fact that I know you and we can have conversations like this,
Right.
that
Right.
that shows me that I'm doing the right thing because you you don't have time for this if I'm not, like if I'm not shooting straight with you or whatever,
No,
you know what I'm
it's,
saying?
yeah,
So like,
the reason I like talking to you is the fact that you've got a fucking personality, right? You're a good guy to talk to, even if it's not about surfing, just shooting the shit, And
mm,
we've had those times where we've just been on camera, you and I, and on messaging and shit, and talking to each other. And no, dude, you come across like you're a freaking straight up dude, and that's what attracts me. It's like someone straight up, straight down the middle, say it how it is, no beating about the bush. You can go to that person if you're feeling a bit shit and say, I feel a bit shit because they have a different perspective, like yourself, right? Like sometimes I've said to you, I'm a bit down, and you'll come in with something that you say, and I'm like, no, he's right. right? Because it's like straight, right? It's like, well, you know, shit, dude, get out there and fucking pick your camera up or something. It's like, yeah, he's right,
Well,
right?
yeah, like just because I saw that you put the link to your podcast last night, and I wanted to make sure that I listened to it fully. But I was really glad that I caught that specific one, because it's like, man, I could never make a video like that, because I have no past experience with it, but it makes so much sense to,
The
like,
podcasting, you mean, or the
no,
videoing?
just that topic itself, like, and
Oh yeah,
honestly,
yeah,
I
yeah.
could see how um that could affect how other people just act in terms of me being as loud and sort of over the top as I am. Like, it could sort of
It
push
helps.
people away. Yeah.
No, it help. It goes the other. It goes the other way too. I mean,
Oh, sure, sure, sure.
it's
And I
that's
think,
what I grip onto because it's the confidence of the person. When you see someone in a confidence position, like it's like I said about holding your head up, right? Like when you're walking down the street, I have a tendency to look down, right? And when we're looking down walking, it's like shame. I don't want to look up. I don't want. I'm not proud of myself. I'm not. I'm not saying look at me. I don't want anybody to see me. It's like you look down all the time, right? But if you just freaking hold your head up, pull your shoulders back, and just walk, it shows other people a confidence, right? And if someone's not feeling quite confident themselves, they'll see that and pick up on that, and that energy transfers over, dude. They could literally just walk past you and go, "That fucking dude's. Hang on a minute," and straighten themselves up, right? Or smiling and saying hello. It connects. It's
that's
an
a big
energy.
deal that not a lot of people do. It's crazy. Not a lot
Yeah,
of people. I worked in retail, and the amount of people who, like, when you say hello to them first, they're like, "Hello." It's just
right.
it's
It's
such
a
a
bit weird,
small
right?
thing. Yeah, it is
You do
very,
that.
very
You do that
weird.
in England, do they look at you thinking, what do you want? Right? In my area, you go walking
Yeah.
past someone and go hello, right? Complete stranger, be like, who's this guy? Right? But when I had the biggest thing for me to accept when I moved there is walking into a shop and they going, hello, and have a good day. And I'm like, freaking, you don't know me. I was like, why are you saying have a good day? You ain't got no idea who I am. I went there first. It took me a while. Because I didn't hear that back in London. You're joking. Have a good day. Freaking people are trying to survive themselves. Right? So so when I moved there and I started hearing like friendly, welcoming. I was like, it took me a while to kind of get used to it because it was I came from a program. Put your head down, don't look up, right? Keep looking down. And it's dude, when you can give that air of confidence and look up, matey, and hold your head up and be proud of yourself. It's different than cocky. I got asked that by somebody. What's the difference between pride and cocky? And I'm like, pride is something that you like about yourself. Cocky, you've got something to prove. You've got insecurities, and you're trying to
Yeah.
cover that up, and you're being cocky with it, right? But a pride is that holding your head up and being proud of what you're doing, right? I mean, if you look like you said when you had that instead of you used your phone. And the first thing you said was, yeah, it wasn't so good. Then you kind of corrected yourself, right? And you were like, yeah, but you know what? They those pieces are just part of that journey.
Oh,
It,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's part of it's that very thing that I was saying about where a lot of people will I don't want to say foul, but will give up because they'll hit those marks and then just be like, that's too hard for me and give
Right.
up on their passion and dream, man. And you're not. You're constantly freaking hammering, dude. And well done to you, man. If anybody in here, if you haven't subscribed to Chill, go and subscribe to Chill's channel. We got. Hang on, what we got here? Uh, Actually seen it happen lately. My saying hello, how are you? Give someone a compliment, it can change their whole day. Yeah, man, it does. It's the very reason why I'm out on my walks and I've got people walking past me. Like, hello, morning. It can shift someone's day, man, just like that, real
Right.
easy. So keep doing what you're doing, man, because I tell you what, you've got me here looking at you.
Well, yeah,
Seriously.
and like if I ever can't surf, like I'll just film other people surfing. Like, and if I ever, I don't have to worry about what I'm gonna do. Like, if for some reason I can't work at this specific golf course, I'm gonna go find another one. Like, I've pretty much got my whole shit figured out as far as like the plan. But now I just have to make sure I just got to add the icing and the ganache and the fondant, if you will. Like we already got the fucking cake, boy. I
We got
already
the
got the
flour
cake.
going and the eggs and shit.
Yep, yep. Well, we already did all that. We got the cake. That shit's caked up. But no one just likes cake. You can't just have the cake. You got to have that ganache, son.
It's like the
That's what I'm.
cracker.
Yeah, you ain't just gonna have a cracker. What the hell? You
You could
can, some
just
days,
try.
yeah, But some days it's good to have just a dry cracker. It makes you remember the good old days, back in your time when that's all you had.
When the dinosaurs walked.
Yeah, yeah.
But my missus the other night, she said, she says to me, because we got one of those, one of those like double couches with the thing in the middle, and we can recline it and all. It's just privileged shit, right? And so we sit next to each other watching TV, and she gets up, she gets up the other night, and she goes, "Move your chair forward and just look down." And I went, "Why?" So she said, "Just move your chair." And I looked at it, there's fucking crumbs of all different kinds of shit. Fucking potato chips
You're
and bits of nut.
like a
And
child.
where I drop it on myself like
Yeah,
crackers, right? And then I get up to make a cup of tea and it just goes.
yeah. No big deal, dude. No big deal.
My wife loves that. But I've written a bunch of things down, dude,
Oh,
to ask you. Um, if you didn't have surfing, right? Let's say you woke up tomorrow and you didn't have surfing, right? What excites you? What would you do?
I would see I couldn't if I couldn't film people surfing and couldn't surf myself, I would probably start to play hockey again. I would,
Huh.
because that's something, and it's been long enough where I think I could navigate myself around all of it and get back to a place where I would be happy with my skills. But if it was something where I couldn't do either of those, like maybe I got hurt or something,
Yeah.
I would definitely sink myself into the work here, because that's another good thing that I have, that like I actually do have a vested interest in like golf and golf courses. Like I don't play golf as much as you would think. However, just the game means a lot to me and my dad, and so that's a good thing that I can just use my job as an outlet, because it is very peaceful.
Yeah.
But I mean, I am very I'm kind of like Grom, but see, Grom is actually artistic and he can draw and make music and other things.
Yeah.
I like the idea of being artistic. Like I don't know if you remember what I'm talking about. Do you know that when you can draw like the 6 lines and then turn them into like a weird looking S?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like, that's the extent of my artistry.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
then colored in with some
you know
marker.
what? It's something to try out. It really is.
Well, yeah, and so that's where I was going. Like, if I couldn't do anything physical, like if I couldn't play golf or surf or play hockey, I would, I would, I would do this shit. I would be like, I would become some sort of a artist or whatever. Like, again, like I'm not the guy that's gonna like just do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Like, I'm gonna find something. I'm gonna fucking do it. Like, that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna get all of the shit. I'm gonna fucking do it. Like, it's not gonna be like,
Right.
whatever, you know.
Right.
Like, I'm
Right.
fucking going. It's why I was really good at doing cocaine and ecstasy. Why I was really good at getting alcohol, and now why I'm really good at fucking, putting up 3 videos a week. Like, I'm
Right.
good at doing the shit that I really want to do, and the shit that I don't want to do. And I'm not gonna ever do nothing. You know who does this kind of shit? Fucking Daihatsu Dave. That guy, he lives his fucking life, dude. He's got some shit he's got to deal with, but what is he not doing? He's still
Right.
getting tattoos. He's still talking about his damn Japanese bands and shit, and he's
Right.
doing shit that he's fucking doing. That's
Yeah.
the kind of, like, you're really inspiring because you can really help people a lot. And Dave's really inspiring because he's just a fucking machine, dude. Like, to be like that strong and shit mentally, and like that's pretty badass. So like, I don't have anything fucking holding me back. So
But don't you find that? Don't you find that with each individual person in the group that we have? We all have, like yourself too, right? I mean, we all have our. We could be in there. It's like that imposter thing again. You could be in the group and think you're not doing anything within the group, but each individual is taking something from you from that group, right?
sure.
So it gives you. It's that purpose of being there. It's that thing, right?
Mhm.
And when you look at someone like Dave, right? I remember when he was real quiet, right? The picture he
Yeah.
just put up. I remember when he was like real quiet and he just sat back and really didn't say much, right?
Yeah,
And then he
yeah,
started
man.
coming in, and yeah, it makes a difference because, like you said, we know there's some shit going on with Dave health wise and that because he spoke about it freely. Um, but you look at someone that's pushing through that, you know,
I mean, fuck, dude. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's just, I mean, and I'm not even saying it and it's like, oh, it puts shit in perspective. Cause I mean, life puts shit in fucking perspective. But like,
Yeah.
to watch somebody really doing it,
Right,
watch somebody, cause dude, I'm telling you what, like, my life has been pretty fucking easy. And I still have to be like, all right, I have to tell myself to be thankful. Like, what a piece of shit that has a pretty fucking easy. And I've seen some shit, and it's not
hmm
like, I should shut the fuck up and be more cool and chill out and fucking help other people. And like, but like, not everybody's perfect. I think the end game is to reach the finish line and be like, I literally did my best. Whether you fucked up, you tried to fix it.
yeah,
But back on point, like, dude, like, there's, fucking just to be able to like go and get your shit just fucking covered in tattoos and then fucking go deal with some hard shit and then go get just blasted with tattoos and then go fucking deal with some hard shit. Cause on the other side of that, you're gonna be, it's just like you didn't waste any fucking time like just sitting. And cause like we're all gonna end up this one fucking way,
right,
all of us.
right,
Doesn't matter if you're black, you're fucking from Siberia, you got 5 legs or no legs, we're all going out the same fucking way. And
yeah.
I firmly believe that there is something, I don't know what, and when you get to that place, you're gonna have to, if you don't look at yourself down here, you're gonna have to at some point. And like, again, fucking guys like Dave aren't wasting any time. So I'm like, I can't. Cause I
Right.
wasted so much time drinking like an idiot, and I quit that shit when I was 26. So I'm really lucky.
You know what,
But I
man?
wasted a
It,
ton
it,
of
it,
time.
I'm the same. Dave just said um, got little choice but to fight, mate, and I get it. But there's a lot of people that they'll
You
get.
got a lot of choice, bro. You got a lot of choice to do fuck all, man. You could do fucking, everybody could do nothing. Everybody could do nothing.
Right, right. That's exactly my point. You're choosing. You got to choose to fight. You got to choose to go forward. If you don't choose it, you don't know. right? It's just like yourself. You choose to go surfing. You choose to do that because that's what puts you in the right mindset. You know that, right?
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I have to, you
Right,
know?
right. And it's the same with myself. You know, I'm not perfect by any means. It shouldn't even be in the vocabulary perfect. But when I get those days when I'm like feeling like complete shit, right? And I'm not, I'm getting up in the morning and I'm like, oh no, I know, I can feel it. I just know, right? I can do two things. I can either just be like, well, screw it, I'm going downhill, right? Or I can look at it and start working my way a way out, right? And like pulling at different tools and using different ways and things like that. It's that bit of not, you choose to do that. You choose it. And
Yeah.
and looking at Dave, I mean, we have a tendency to do that. We kind of make ourselves a little smaller because we don't want to look like something like he just did. I didn't have any choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You had every
Yeah,
choice.
fuck yeah, you do, bro. You could be a bitch and you could fucking just shell up and say
Right.
fuck it. And like again, and that's who the fuck was I saying this to the other day? Somebody else was saying, "Oh, I don't have this and that, and I don't have a choice to do." It's like, yeah, you do. Oh, you know a guy I work with, his dad's like got terrible dementia, and he's got two daughters that pick shitty guys and whatever. But he's like, well, he's like complaining about it, and I'm like, well, dude, you could be a piece of shit and not do what you're doing,
Right.
because then when they're gone, then the reason why you're doing this isn't for later, but later comes either way, and like you're gonna have to deal with one thing or the other,
Yep.
so you do something and you get a positive on the other end, regardless. You do nothing and you fucking hope and hope isn't shit.
Right.
Hope isn't shit. Faith is like y- faith isn't shit. It helps,
Yep.
but it isn't. It's
You
not
got to
gonna
make the moves.
magically fucking do stuff,
You got to make those
And like,
moves.
yeah, yeah, you have to. It's got to be at the very least. I don't care if you're the most religious, fucking spiritual, whatever you want to call it. You're gonna have to meet that Jesus, or if you pray to a fucking lamp, you and that lamp are gonna have to meet at the very least 50%. You're gonna have to do 50% of fucking something, or else you're fucked. Or you could get
Right.
lucky,
Right.
but that doesn't happen very much.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. At least you can turn the lamp on and have it light your shadows, right?
you better fucking hope the electricity's on though. Or else you got a fucking lamp, bro. That's it. With a cord.
Let me switch the lamp on and get some sense out of it, and it's not electric.
Electricity in that motherfucker.
So, man, what's the plan for going forward into next year? Whereas, I mean, it's right on top of us. What's the plan? What's the plan, surfing wise and shit? Where's the growth? Tell me where.
Just
Tell me
go.
where you're going to be growing at. Where are you going to be growing?
Um, I think honestly, I'm going to put work as more of a priority this coming summer and only surf when it's really good. I'll still be able to go, but when I go, it'll just, when I take, hours off of work, it'll be for better reasons than just like 2 feet or to like wait. Now that Bear is gone, I have a lot more like freedom to, I don't have to check on him a bunch during the day and make sure that he's has water or he's in the
Right.
shade or the air conditioner's running. And so I can be a little more picky and choosy about where I surf. And then with that comes like, the responsibility to work more. So yeah, I know it sounds weird, but I might surf less, just more
Quality.
there's better days,
Right.
yeah, or maybe later in the day, maybe I won't surf as much because I can make other videos, with the
Yeah.
van life. I'm probably gonna make a van life video and have that be like the last video of the year. But I'm just gonna start another playlist and keep doing what I'm doing, to be honest with you. The amount of growth that I had in the last 6 months, it took me 3 years to get what I got in the last 6 months.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. What with growth as in what you're
Just
doing with your
subscribers. Just
sorry,
subscribers.
subscribers? Yeah.
Because I
So
don't really fuck with any other social media like any serious way. And like this was my goal, not just to hit 1,000 subscribers. My goal, my honest goal now in the next year is to get to be like 3,000. I want to double it. I don't think with what I've done in this past little bit, I feel like if I just keep doing what I'm doing, um, there's no reason not to. And I think my editing is getting better and just talk more on the camera and be more personable and
have you thought
go
about
other places.
have you thought about teaching people, dude? Like younger people or underprivileged kids or something like that? You ever thought about that?
Yeah, there's in this town in Muskegon, there's probably a there's probably a market for that, but it's just not me. Like I love my job, and outside of that, like I have the group of friends, that we share,
Yeah.
and that's it, you know?
Yeah. How did van
Like
life start for you? How did van life start for you? I'm looking at your van and that, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, so how did freaking van life start? How did all that start?
well, surfing and van life go hand in hand. And again, like through the coronavirus, when I had that amount of freedom, I couldn't imagine going back to work. So I was really kind of delusional for about 6 months after the corona money ended.
Yeah.
Um, and then when I realized I wasn't going to be a star YouTuber in 4 months, um, I started coming back to reality. But yeah, the van life was just a byproduct of surfing. I didn't want to even spend any sort of other thought on uh nothing that I had to do that didn't have to involve the surfing and the work that I was doing. That was it.
Yeah. So it
And
was just surfing then? Is that why you started van
yeah,
life? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Did
Hold
that
on
all
one
come?
sec.
Oh yeah, go on, man.
I gotta plug us in. We're
Oh
gonna
yeah,
make a
sweet man.
quick. We're gonna make a quick fucking location change. Check out the fireplace,
Hey,
everybody.
shit, look at that. Dude, that is a really nice fireplace. I saw that in one of your videos. I'm like, damn, it looks real. I thought you had like logs going on. It's like actually
Yeah,
burning logs in his van.
yeah, yeah, dude. I just drilled a hole in the side. You
Put a
know
tube
how
out.
it
Because
goes. All right, so
that's when
yeah,
I started. That's when I got introduced to you. When you was like building the van out, you were like you were putting the sheeting on the walls, and you were building the bed. You were building out the bed, and you got that's when you ordered the shitter because you got the portable shitter, ain't you, over on the, and you was building the curtain thing and all that. That's when I got into watching you, and I tell you what, dude, even that was really interesting, man. I was really interested in it because it was again, I'm not very skilled. I'm one of those people that if I've got to have it all measured out, and I'm shit at measuring. I mean, I'm freaking terrible at
oh
measuring, but I've got to
yeah,
like have it all
dude, look
cut
at this.
nice.
Look at
Yours,
that. Look at it.
yours,
Kind
you,
of all fucked up and
but it looks like, dude, you were doing it to where I'm like, I'd like to have a go at that. You
right.
know what I mean? Because
And you,
my mind
yeah,
goes to, that thing would have to look like a freaking spaceship. You know what
right,
I mean?
right,
For
right,
me to like, for it to all look right for me, right?
right.
But
A
it's
lot
another
of
one of
people have
those
said that.
things. Sorry,
Yeah, a lot of people have said that actually. They're like, man, I thought, and it's like they're not trying to be rude. It sounds almost rude when they
right?
say it, but they're like, I thought it would be a lot harder. And I'm like, listen, like I am super close to being like high level ADHD. So like the idea of cutting and measuring and
Wow,
fucking doing that, I'm gonna jam this shit in here. I'm gonna get the sawzall as close to the roof as I can. I'm gonna
wow.
cut it most of it off, and then the stuff that doesn't come off, I'm just gonna punch it until it falls off. Bingo bango, I'm gonna drill that shit to the
You have
wall.
ADHD and you did that?
I don't think I do, but I'm close because I need so much preparation to concentrate.
Yeah.
Like think about that. And if you have any form of ADD or whatever, that makes perfect sense. But I have to plan concentration time, or
Oh,
else I'm just like that's why surfing's so good for me because it's like chaos and fear and it shuts my brain off. Nothing shuts my brain off. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's just
Yeah. That's
crazy. But yes.
my youngest daughter's got ADHD, right? Only mild, like really
Right.
mild. But when we had her evaluated, the doctor said it was where apparently the front part of the brain uh, didn't come together in time or something. It is now, of course, but it wasn't. There was something to do with the front part of the brain, right? And he said to her, he said the best thing you can do for her to concentrate is run her ass out, make her do
Yeah,
exercise, and then sit down and do homework because then they can focus, right?
right.
And I've noticed that. If she does exercise or whatever, she's all of a sudden like calmer, a little bit more because she is. She's like, yeah, it's like fucking, you know, right?
Yeah.
And but yeah, that's what that doctor said. He said, like, yeah, run her out, like, get her exercise is like key, like to bring this down, to slow the mind down a bit.
It's crazy.
But the fact that you did 10 for him, like, holy shit, man, that's
And I
like,
mean, yeah, the next van I get, it's like these tiny little learning things, and van life is just how I live. The surfing is my channel. Like that's what I really put my effort into, but I'm kind of seeing now that I need to have that extra little bit and people are interested in it just like you said. Like I'm
yeah,
sure that you are a capable builder and for you to come in here even if you've never built a van out, if you have any skill, it's just like that. And to watch somebody hobble this shit together like I did, it puts people's minds at ease, and
yeah,
that's why I tell a lot of people like I'm in this really cool Facebook group called Cheap Van Life and everybody has a YouTube channel, of course, but I'll share those van like videos that you were talking about where I was building this, and I'm like, just watch the little bit. You could skip ahead. You don't even have to subscribe. But like,
yeah,
this is how fucking easy it is. Like, I did this in the middle of winter, outside with
yeah.
no skill. The only upside I had was I live at the golf course with a full mechanic shop, so like I
Yeah,
had the
nice.
tool, but that's it.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I don't know. The van life is just a product of the surfing, dude, and
So
I
what
love it though.
what would you say, in your van life and in surfing, right? What would you say some of the biggest obstacles you faced, and how did you get through it?
I'm my biggest obstacle, my stupid brain.
Well,
Um,
you're not stupid, but anyway.
no, the brain that tries to work against me a lot. And I'm just pretty stubborn. And so I'll, just make my own bed and respectfully lie in it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, honestly, like the biggest obstacles are just my fear of missing good waves and feeling like I'm not like I'm working more than I'm living. That's my biggest obstacle when I
working
need
more than
to
you're actually living.
the idea of it, I don't. I
Right,
spend again, I spend a lot of time doing what I want, but the my biggest obstacle is telling myself I need to just focus on 6 months from now, a year from now. I don't need to always be like right now,
right,
you know. I
right.
can kind of fucking chill sometimes,
Yeah, and don't
because
say
that's
you have to.
fun.
You choose to.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I don't have to. I have no obligation. And that's the good part because I can live like this and still make sure that like I'm taken care of and stuff. But yeah, that's literally my biggest freaking obstacle is just like being like, all right, I got to take this next 2 weeks and do something that will benefit me in 5 weeks or 6 months or whatever. That's really hard for me to do.
Right. right, because of your mind. That's probably the ADD too, man. The freaking
Yeah.
that shit firing off in your head. I mean, that because I know it's constant.
Oh,
It's always going. But I wanted to ask you one more last question before we because we're at what we at hour and 19. Yeah, hour and
yeah.
19. It looks like people are dropping off. But I want to ask you this question. Think about it a little bit, right? What's some of the things you want to learn? Challenges.
Hmm. Well, that I want to learn.
Yeah, even if it's like, even if you see it as like something that could be really challenging, like I'll give you an example, right? I had that podcast and equipment sitting in the freaking corner for near on a year. It might have been a year without me even opening it up or anything, right? I would get it out, I'd look at it, I'd put it back in the box because I was kind of intimidated by it. But it was a challenge. I wanted to do it, right? It was something that I knew I wanted to do it, right? And the challenge come was getting it out and learning that shit. Right. It was very challenging because I didn't want to really involve my wife because she's the computer person. I didn't really want to involve her too much. I wanted to figure it out all by myself. So it was a challenge. It was very challenging for me, but it was something that I just kept plugging. I wanted to do it. Right. So what is something for you to where it's like, it could be even something that's really challenging, but you want to learn it? What is it? Is there something there where you're like, you know what?
Well, and I Grom said bigger waves, and I guess I mean I could go straight back to the channel and what I'm doing, but all of that shit will come, I think. Um I think I just need to I guess I have a hard time sort of pigeonholing myself in what I'm doing. So, perhaps I should maybe spend some time, learning something else that's completely has nothing to do with filming anything or I'm talking like left field shit,
Yeah.
because I could still work that in because I only do four things.
Yeah, Grom said, venture into the world of arts. I agree with that.
Yeah,
To
well,
tell
there
you the
you
truth.
go. There you go. There you
Yeah,
go. Something because again, just like I said, I only do 3 to 5 things every day,
right,
and that's
right.
in the middle of the winter too. And I have time. I can make time. There's plenty of time. I'm not saying I'm too busy for shit, but I think if I was gonna pick a challenge or find answer your question honestly, I'd have to start doing something completely new. Because
Right.
I'm going to end up getting 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to end up being monetized. I'm going to end up getting better at surfing. And I said this, I wish, and the year isn't over. I said I wanted to get a legitimate barrel. I think at Uncle Billy Bay, I got a lot of really good shots that could
Yeah.
consider, I'm not going to split hairs because I'm on a fucking lake. Um, and I want all of that, and I'm going to do all of that. But again, if I was going to answer your question honestly, I would literally have to find a new hobby or
Yeah.
step so far out of my comfort zone and just do something for the fucking sake of just doing it and seeing with nothing, with no anything. I
Yeah.
could do it one time and never again. But I would have to think about it just because, I mean, to think about it right now, it's like you're that old school static. You ask me that question and that's the noise in my head, You could ask me a million things and I could give you a million different answers,
Right.
but that's a legitimate question that I'm like, I would just have to start something completely new and and learn it and try it and give it an honest effort. That would be fucking hard.
Yeah.
That would be really hard. you
Yeah,
know.
the one thing that we do in therapy, and I've seen this work, um, is with the arts. We do a thing called painting by source, and what it is there's no thought to it, right? You have like basically three basic colors, or just four or five. It could be four or five, but nothing like major. You don't want to open up a palette and have fucking 50 different colors, right? You just keep it basic, like school kid paint, right? And then you have three brushes, and the way it was explained to me, you have like, it's like the three bears. You have the little bear, the mummy bear, and the daddy bear, right? In brushes. So you got the big one, medium, and the little one, right? And you basically just get yourself a sheet of paper. You don't even have to have like special paper or anything like that. Just get yourself a sheet of paper, and you don't have anything in mind to paint. So basically, what you're doing is it's a form of like meditating, really, because you want to remove the thought, because we automatically think of arts and we want to start drawing something or making a landscape painting or something, right? You take that out of your head. And basically what you do is you go with the first thing you like. When you look at the brushes, one's going to come to mind straight away. That's the one you grab, right? You don't go with the thinking. You don't go, oh, my mind's telling me to grab the big brush, but I think we're going to go for the little brush. No, you grab the big brush, right? You don't give any kind of thought or wavering thinking, otherwise it's going to turn you somewhere else. So you go with the first thing in your head. So, and that goes with the color as well, whatever you pick. And then you just put the paintbrush on the paper, and you just start going wherever it takes you. And you'd be really, really surprised what comes out. You'll see people's emotion that's like buried, some of it. And it will start coming out on the paper. And what you do is you have a roll of tape near you. And I've seen these things go the size of a freaking wall, right? They start off with a sheet of paper. Because what you end up doing is, if you're not feeling finished and your mind's telling you to keep going, you just keep sellotaping paper on and keep going, right? And it's crazy the shit that you'll see if you look it up online. Painting by source. There's a woman that did it. She's a psychologist, and she brought this about. I've done it. I've got an artist friend that sent me an artist set, and she said, start painting. And I'm like, what? She goes, don't even think about it. Just start painting. And I did. And dude, I had I had freaking anger coming out. I was getting paint on the brush and I was fucking slinging it. I was honestly banging the freaking brush into the canvas like, yeah, because you're not thinking, I'm going to paint a nice cottage on a hill and a sun. And no, it doesn't work. You go in and you just let it flow. You let the energy go. That's what it is. It's letting the energy flow and come down into the brush and doing whatever it's going to do on it. And I'll tell you what, dude, it might be something to look at. Just get yourself a sheet of paper and give it a go.
Well, yeah, and and honestly, I have zero background in it, but for my whole life, and I would always tell this, like, I'm really good at sports where it's like see thing, hit thing. Golf and hockey, you just whack stuff.
Yeah,
Like that's where
it's
my
like
brain's
rugby.
at. Yeah, dude, exactly. So like surfing is not something that I normally would have done. So I think that but editing the videos, that's probably the most artistic thing that I've ever done.
Yeah.
And it's helped a lot. But I mean, man, that's that's the most challenging thing I could literally do is to like start a new hobby. You know what? Actually, I'd have to put some sort of parameters. I would have to give myself like 6 months, really like doing something like once or twice a week or whatever. That
Hmm.
would be really hard. Like I don't. I would have. It would have to be some sort of a challenge.
Right.
Like
That's why I said
I don't
challenges.
think I yeah, I don't think I could just do it right now, just like willy-nilly, you know? It would be fun to see, but man, uh,
The challenge is where the
yeah,
growth is, man. You
sure.
challenge yourself and you push yourself, and if you want to do it, you know, it's like Grom said earlier. It's no good doing something simple. If it comes easy, where's the growth, right? And it's if you give yourself that challenge, especially when it's around something that you've never done before, like learning a language, right? I thought about this myself. I'm like, but I don't want to just learn a language. I want to go and learn something like an Asian language or something that's a bit difficult, right? That you got like Dave. I think he was doing Japanese. I believe. I think he was learning. I think he'll probably tell me. I think he was learning Japanese, dude. Japanese is like something that I listen to and go, I want to do that. Don't give
Right.
me, don't give me freaking like what I used to do in school, German or French, right?
Yeah.
Give me something that I've never dealt with, and that's the challenge. Because and
Right.
then you become completely present with it. Because when things come that little bit more easier after we do it for a while, it starts to become like the mind is not so focused. We're focused, but we can start thinking about other shit too while we're doing it because we know what we're doing. It's like driving, right? If you're driving a stick shift, the first few days my arsehole gave way because I'm like, fucking, how do I figure all this out? Clutch and right? How do I figure all this shit out? But after a while, what you're doing? You're having a conversation, you're driving. Don't even think about it, right?
On your phone and your tablet.
Oh, yeah. Talking, yeah, shifting quickly, yeah. But no, yeah, Japanese. They said Japanese is difficult, yeah. But it's the challenge of it. It's that it keeps you present, right? Because you don't want it easy.
Right.
Pick something that you've never done before. You'd like to give it a go. You want to try it out. And I tell you what, man, I think I think it would really help your surfing too, because it'll help calm your mind that little bit more. It's something instead of surfing as well that you can put your mind into and become present
Right.
and focused with. It's another challenge. So it's just something to think about, man. I just thought about that because it'll be, something to think about, dude, and get yourself
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah, I was trying to learn British, but I already learned.
Good luck.
I learned Canadian last year, so British is just too hard. I can speak American and Canadian pretty well, and just maybe I'll try drawing or something, or playing the recorder.
Yeah, dude, I picked up I see. This is another thing. Yeah, this is another prime example. I I did a class on sound therapy, right? Because it's something that I want to do. I want to start. I've got singing bowls and all kinds of things for
Yeah.
sound, right? Because everything is vibration, yeah, and frequency. So,
Those singing bowls are pretty wild, man.
what's that?
Those singing bowls, like what I've seen, like those. What do they call it? A sound bath, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I want
Yeah.
to do. Yeah, sound bath.
Right.
Yeah,
That's pretty like, and dude, like just like you said, those noises are something different. Like it's different.
there's different frequencies for hitting different areas of your body too, because there's different areas that'll tune into different vibrations.
Right.
And I bought a Native American flute. Never played one before. No freaking idea. Right? It came up on the course. I thought, all right, freaking, I'll have a go at that. Right? And the bit that got me is the fella that was teaching it on the course. It was an online course that I was doing. But the fella that was teaching it, he said, "Don't think about music. Think about the sound. Right?
Right.
And play it for the sound, like how you're feeling. Just play. Don't think, oh, I've got to put sheet music up and follow sheet music." And I tell you what, it's one of the most pleasant musical experiences I've had because there's no pressure of trying to learn music. Right? You're already playing it just
Right.
by making it sound and vibrate and having that frequency. You're already playing music. But when you add in that element of I've got to learn music, no, you don't. Right? Just go with what you're feeling. And
Yeah,
it's
you're trying to
so
play
much
the
more.
Rolling Stones on the flute and it doesn't sound good. But if you try to just play something that you like, or like, if you just mess around almost on it and just those things, some of them sound so pleasant by themselves. It doesn't matter what you're doing. But if you start trying to play fucking Led Zeppelin on it,
Right,
it's not gonna sound right. But
right. It don't work.
yeah,
It's
right.
just, and it's the same with the art. That picture. Because
Yep.
you'll sit there for days going, "Oh, I want to landscape it. No, I don't. I don't look. No, I want to do." You ain't doing nothing. You're not. All the, All the while you're going, I want it, I want that, no. You're not putting the fucking brush in the paint. You're not doing shit, right? But if you just go, I'm just going to do it, and just go with what the energy tells me, you're painting, right? People say, oh, you got to paint it. No, you don't. Just do it. I'll tell you, it works. That flute, when I play that, I feel calmer.
Right.
It's weird. After a few minutes of just playing, I'll put it down and I'm fucking calmer, dude. It works. Right? And I might look like some freaking, some Indian fella sitting, yogi sitting there, right?
Yeah.
Playing the flute, but hey, bring it on. I'll take that on board. I'll own it.
Yeah. No, it's like when you see a bunch of sand in my van, like it just fits, you know. You
It's
and
just
that
right.
flute. Yeah, it's just me and sand, you and that flute, bro. Like it's just how it's supposed to be right now, you know.
And leaving you on this, it's funny what you said about how you see us the same but different in mind. The way we are.
Oh
Because
yeah.
first of all, opposites attract, right? And there's that with the minds, yeah. But the other piece of that is, even though that you're off and you're on your journey and you're on your journey and doing your journey, it's real nice to have someone like you that I can actually relate to on that level, because you are a go-getter, you are passionate. I've said to you many, many times, dude, the passion you got, it shows. It really does show. And for me to see you doing that, it's got there's an energy to it. Right, there's a complete energy to it. There's a confidence in the way you're talking on those videos, the love that you're showing, when you're driving and you're looking over, you're getting excited. Like it's like a kid seeing his favorite candy in a freaking shop window,
The
right?
exact same thing.
Right? It's like holy shit. I'm gonna. You already are starting to feel. I can tell you feel it. You show that. So I really, thank you for being you, and thank you for giving me time and listening at times and chatting here and there and just being a great part of the group, dude. I really
Yeah.
I value
No,
you, dude. I really do.
yeah, no, it's really cool to again, like I hang my hat on knowing guys like you because uh if I wasn't doing the right things, I wouldn't know you guys. So like, you know,
Right,
because none of you have time for any bullshit. Everybody's either dealing with something, helping someone deal with something, planning something, or whatever. And it's just like there's really nobody around that yeah, it's just man, I just it's great to be able to just like look at everybody and respect the people who like allow me to like act foolish and stuff, and I think it's cool. And I
yeah,
think everybody, even if it's not like humans in the same general area, the people who are going around without anyone is rough, dude. So
right, right.
yeah,
But anyway,
gotta think about
all right, brother. It's been a pleasure. Absolute pleasure, man. It's always a great chat, and I could chat all fucking day long.
that. Yeah,
But
for sure.
absolute pleasure, brother. And thanks,
Yeah,
uh,
thanks, dude.
thanks for giving the time, man. And thank you, everybody. I don't know if you're all still there. There's free in apparently.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Anybody here now or here later?
right,
Thank you.
yeah, you'll get it. And go and subscribe. Yeah, go and subscribe to Chill's channel. Great channel. Let's get those fucking numbers rolling. Want to get you up there, dude. Get those numbers up there. Let's go. All right.
You too. Same, both of us. Everybody.
All right.
The
All right, brother.
grind. All right,
Love you,
man.
man. I'll take it easy. All right. See you later, man.
Yep.
Bye.
Ah, wow.
Hey, turn this off.